Hello, everyone. Welcome to Call Sign Charlie Models. We're going to get into painting on the Kitty Hawk 135th scale MH-60 Jayhawk. And starting off, we're going to be doing a little bit of masking. This actually required a lot of masking on this. I went through a lot of tape, but we're getting the initial front section masked off right here, getting the angles of the stripe done, and this took a little bit of work. Get it around the curves and everything, doing a little bit of slicing right here, just so we have a good solid seal so we don't have any bleed through, even though we are still going to have bleed through in the future that we're going to have to come in and correct. But we're trying our best to minimize that as much as possible. So getting that all done, and then we're going to come in and we got the bottom stripe right here. This one was a lot easier to do because the curves weren't as complex for this one. So making sure we got the angle done, going by the references on the instructions, and getting that done as well. And then we have the underside. Underside on this kit is absolute garbage. That's the best I could do with the seam. And now we're starting off with the actual racing stripe. Now the racing stripe for Coast Guard vessels and aircraft are at 67 degrees for the angle, and that is because the racing stripe was adopted in 1967. All vessels before that were just the haze gray, and now we're using or painting the red. Now, using the MRP International Orange, I was on the fence on this color at the very get go because I just thought it was going to be way too orange. And I was even thinking about using MRP Richthofen Red. But actually, I'm glad that I went with the International Orange because this color is spot on for the Coast Guard Jayhawk. Now, for the 65, that is more of a red. They say it's more of a Chevy engine red, but I think the Richthofen red will work for the 65 when I build it. So getting the International Orange on, and it's laying down perfectly like all other MRP paints. I've never really had issues with our MRP paints at all. So getting that all done, and we're going to paint some more. Sorry that it's off camera. I'll get you back in the camera here in a second. All right, there we go. And yeah, just applying this nice smooth coats, light coats, and then going in from there. Yeah, that color is spot on. It's a perfect match for the Jayhawk. So really happy with this and how it turned out. And it looks even better after all the masking is off. And then at the very end, when it's all done and painted, that international orange looks really good, especially with the matte black that's on the nose, and then the insignia blue for the stripe. Then we have the tailplane right here that we're painting with the international orange. Quick, easy. Then we're gonna have some static discharge wands to add on to the build after the very end. And now we're removing all of the masking tape. Like I said, it took a lot of masking on here, and just keep on going. You'll see here in a second, we're going to have some overspray areas that we're going to have to take care of. But it is such a satisfying feeling when you're removing all the masking, seeing how everything's going, and then also not pulling up tape. You can see the first area of overspray that we're going to have to touch up right there, and then a couple more areas on the tail boom or the tail area of the helicopter as well. Final masking. Now you can see, yep, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 areas that we need to do with the white real quick. Got that done. Nice and easy. Now we're masking off for the blue stripe of the racing stripe. What I'm doing here is I'm just using a piece of Tamiya tape. I can't remember which size it is. I think this is maybe the 2 millimeter. So it's a 3 stripe method. I used the first stripe to get the initial um, distance from the red stripe, and then we're going to go in here with another one to get the width of the actual blue stripe. Get that laid in right alongside of the other tape, or the first piece of tape that we laid down. Then we're going to come in with a third piece and put that in right alongside of the middle one. Then after that is all done, we can pull the middle one off, and then we have our racing stripe masked off. Right here, just trying to get this laid down. Not a fan of that photo etch piece that's on the bottom there. Now we're pulling the middle tape off, and you can see we have a nice mask for our racing stripe using the MRP 300 Insignia Blue for the blue stripe. And here we go. There it is, all finished up. Pretty happy with it on how it turned out. And now we are going to be painting the landing gear area with the light ghost gray. Just real quick and easy on this. Not much to show off on this, but we're also going to be doing some more detail painting on the shock absorbers here in a little bit as well. Now for the rotor head, now that it's getting painted, all the detail is really starting to show up on it. Then we're going to be doing some more detail painting at the end of the video on this to show off all the cabling and wires and everything on there. Then doing one of the rotor head or rotor blades right here. And now we're moving on to the matte black areas, the walk areas, the nose, all that. We got that masked off. Now we're going to be spraying that with your antennas, and then the walk areas right here. I did have one other walk area that I didn't mask off. I didn't realize until I was actually started decaling. So I had to, luckily I caught it early and was able to get it masked off and painted. I absolutely will not apply tape over a decal. I've had horrible luck of decals coming off no matter how many coats of clear coat I put on. For some reason, it's just bad luck, I guess. I've pulled off a few decals with masking tape, so I just don't do it anymore. So getting the black done on here, like as you can see, this took a lot of masking tape to get everything done, and I tried to keep the overspray areas down to a minimum just to minimize the waste of tape. But we're also going to be repainting the exhaust nozzles on this too here in just a second as well. So now we have one of the fuel tanks that we're doing. Getting that masked off and painted. Let that dry. Then we have the stubby fuel tank right here. That's from Warner's Wings. Not part of the kit, but part of the additional set from Warner's Wings. And then we have the res kit rotor head, or not rotor head, tail rotor right here. All right, so now we're going to start with the exhaust area. First, we're starting with the MRP titanium for our base color right here. So getting that painted. Then we're going to come in with our MRP gunmetal, which is more of a black, kind of a metallic black color. I'm really a big fan of this color right here for guns or exhaust areas. And then up next, we're going to be hitting it with some AK Extreme Metal burnt metal, just to add a little bit of brown tinge to it. And then lastly, we're going to hit it with AK Extreme Metal Pale Burnt Metal. And we're going to go from the outside of the burnt metal just to kind of work some modulation into the burnt metal right here. All right, so now we're going to paint the shock absorbers. We're using the Molotov Chrome, liquid chrome paint pens. I am really enjoying these paint pens. They make life so much easier. They work great for shock absorbers and also rear view mirrors. I did use these for the rear view mirrors on this kit as well. And also all the glass work on the back side of the glass work, I used it. Now, when you're using this, you do want to let it set for a couple days, really, before you do anything else like touch it or apply a clear coat or anything, because it will mess it up if you do touch it or anything like that. It does take a few days to fully cure. And now we're using the AK markers for rubber black on the tires. It is going to take a couple different coats or rounds to get the color down correctly, but these again make life so much easier. You don't have to worry about masking, just being very careful. And now we're masking off the stripes on the main rotors and the tail rotor. Started off masking, we went with the white first, painted all the white, and then we went with the yellow and red and the black. And I thought I recorded this, but I didn't. But now back to the main rotor head, we are starting to paint all the cabling and everything that's going on here, just with the neutral gray from AK Real Colors. Getting those all painted. I'm only going to paint one arm on camera, and then we're going to do the other four or other three off camera. And then we'll come in and do some more detail painting here in a second as well. The set also does come with decals for the rotor head, which is really going to add that extra level of detail on it. I'm really looking forward to seeing how this looks when it is all done. And those brass pins are really going to help support the rotor blades as well. That was one of the weak points of the first res kit rotor head set, was the connection point between the rotor head and the actual rotors. Again, using that Molotov chrome pen to get some of the absorbers or whatever you want to call it put in or painted with the fine tip. It does come with 3 different tips, or there are 3 different tip options for the markers. You can really help out. Just have some more detail painting on the black connection points right in here. Getting those all painted up, and then we're going to come in with the AK natural metal and paint some more of the connectors and hold downs and some of that stuff right there. All right, so that's pretty much it, and I will see you guys here in a second. All right, so that's going to do it for this week on the MH-60 Jayhawk. Got a lot done. All the painting is done. I just got done applying the clear coat so we can start decaling it in the next video. And after that, it should be pretty much done on the end of the next video. Can't see much more else going on, and I decided that I'm not going to do a lot of weathering on this thing because they did keep these really clean actually. So I'm not even going to do a panel line wash. I'm thinking I'll have to think. I'm going to debate about it for a couple nights while we're doing the decaling and everything, but I'm siding more on just getting the decals on and then doing some work with the clears, doing a semi-gloss coat for the main body. Then on the black parts we're going to do the a semi-matte or a matte coat on that, and going around there kind of adding some touches of fading with the clear coats. But that's all I got for today. I'm really looking forward to next week because this thing has really started to come alive with the paint job, and with the decals on it, it's really gonna come to life. So hope you guys enjoyed, and if you haven't yet, don't forget to hit the like and subscribe button, comment down below, and hit the bell button for notifications of future videos. And until next time, I hope you guys have a great day. I'll see you then. Bye bye.